Iya, dikit lagi. Ocke.
We're here to teach you a lesson. Never should have come here. Leave here alive.
Ya.
Jadi bapak jangan beli.
Oke.
It's nothing.
Mantap. Okay, nice. Ocke. Atau ini lagu santai.
Still here. Let's get going then.
Ocke.
Aku ngirim matrix sih, begitu. Jadi spiritual gitu. Kayak sebenarnya yakin sih ya dan
I'm right behind you. How can I serve you, my Thane?
Nah, ini kan goib kan maksudnya gitu.
Iya.
Mana ada.
You lead, I'll follow.
Kayak
Tapi itu sesuatu yang nggak tampak kan.
iya. Energi, frekuensi gitu. Setiap harus hidup itu punya energinya sendiri. Udah lihat video yang aku lihat.
Yang mana yang tumbuhannya gerak? Kalau Idul Fitri kan emang dari sunahnya emang gitu.
Nah, yang video yang dia ngajakin ngomong tubuhan.
Belum.
There's been word of some trouble nearby. I'm on my way to investigate. I probably shouldn't tell everyone who asks. This is important business, you know. No, I think I got this one. Thanks, though. There's been word of some trouble nearby. I'm on my way to investigate.
Kamu ngomong tadi main segala macam kedengeran di sini loh ya, kerekam. Ini game AB.
There's been word of some trouble nearby. I'm on my way to investigate.
Enggak langsung gitu ya. Yang masalah tuh. Kalau main smash dong. Habis sih. Easy. Ochke. Ochke. Gamenya nggak jangan kayak gitu lah. Bisa kedengeran gitu kan.
I'm right behind you. How can I serve you, my Thane?
Tadi kan tawarin tapi mau ini enggak. Nonton enggak?
Let's get going then.
Bentar. Ochke.
Is someone there? Time to end this little bad time to get out.
I've got your back. How can I serve you, my Thane? Lead on.
Eksekusi. Shot. Dikit lagi.
I just cook and clean and do whatever it is they ask of me.
Next. Okay. Yeah. Nasinya belum. Okay. Sekali, yang kemarin masih ada ya? Berapa?
Oh, udah kamu habisin?
Oh iya. Mana coba?
Iya. Iya. Bungkusnya ada, habisin 2. Buat orang yang buka, pegang bungkusnya 2. Motor lihat SMP dinikahin yang di Lombok yang lihat ibu siapa? Gila. Kasian banget nih kayak kasus endok gitu.
Menyenangkan nih.
Film aja. Ini sebuah proposan.
Film. Apa? Ini bagus nih. Memang lebih banyak humornya.
Make sense in my
今の秦国にオーブの他に命を救える者がおるのか
Namatnya.
一人だけ
俺も天下の大将軍になれ。一緒にこんなとこ抜け出すぞ。じゃあ
pokoknya yang ada tulisannya
Kan dari komik tapi film ini. Cerawada juga soal
cuma Kingdom itu tahun berapa?
ではとあれでいきます
Aneh banget kayak palsu banget.
あれで
tapi soalnya kalau kayak gini cuma
あれ
Main gitu.
よろし
Ini lucu kan ceritanya?
udah
Serius.
kalau
なんだ僕
ayo nggak banget ayo nggak usah
Suasananya kayak di Gunung Pasir. Kan ke kiri tadi ya. Enak
It.
Gimana dari Melayu dari Vietnam
Temperatureって何 I can't be more good than that time.
oh ada apa
ada sih ini. Makanya
iya Bermasalah ya, aktornya. Israel itu.
Mau film nonton kolosal nggak?
Apa tuh?
Film kolosal.
Ini masih dari dalam.
Ini action banget kolosal.
Honor, duty, excuses for bloodshed. That is why I left it behind all those years ago.
Korean ya.
Jadi kalau misalnya mana ini?
Apa kalau menurut dari awal?
Nggak ada kayak gini.
Beda-beda aku ya.
From Queen to Street.
1988 dari point 1988 sih.
Iya. Ya 26.
Yang ini
Angkat
slice of
juga.
life gitu.
Angkat pun juga bagus.
Yang cerita slice of life.
Nah,
Tapi yang ini pernah nonton Final. So good.
你这次写不成算了。내가 보자고 수사받은 거? 내일한테 정보적 때문에 그간 주식량의 차익이 무려 5억이었대.
Itu loh kayak komik
believe they're headed for the Arabian Desert's empty quarters.
isinya tuh show-show masih
My name is Yumiko, and I've been bad. But sometimes you have to do a bad thing to make the world better.
Ini show ya. Ini itu banyak.
Makanya
Ini siapa? Saya tahu.
sampai
kan si Eri
entah 3 tahun kerjaannya ribut.
Ini mau.
Coming to you live from Shady Side High. Only 2 days to go until senior prom, and anything can happen.
Ini nggak milih yang kayak gini semua deh.
That Jay?
Megan Rogers, principal's office right now.
Mana plan?
On battles.
Every day he would come out and walk in the garden. Every day. We called him the pacer.
Using what's called mensuration. You see, a person with some...
I was the president's daily intelligence briefer from January 4th, 2001 to January 4th, 2002.
Kamu tinggal lihat ya, saat-saatnya.
No matter where he was in the world, I was with him.
Good morning. Hi. How are you?
I was with President Bush on the morning of September 11th. And the president and I were told about this plane hitting the World Trade Center. The assumption was this must have been a small plane accident.
Thank you for standing
The
up.
president was reading a story about pet goat.
Are you ready, my butterflies? Yeah. Stand up to position, eyes on me. 1, 2, 3. Get ready. Yes. What do these two letters say? Yes, R. Sound it out. Get ready. One word. Yes, R. This word remains. Get ready. Literally something.
I called the CIA Operations Center, and they did have one piece of information for us, which was that it was a large commercial jet.
It's almost like one of these novels, you know, when they start. It was a beautiful sunny day, you know, starting out like that. Well, for me, it was yet another day, you know, of spending all night thinking about what you're going to do the next day. You know, you don't really sleep that well ever.
Some reports are that it was a small commuter plane crashed into the upper floors of one of the twin towers.
I had a TV screen up in the corner of my room. I was looking at it, and it was a beautiful day, blue sky, and there was this black hole in the tower.
Have you seen?
I thought, wow, that must be the world's worst pilot, right? I mean, it's a beautiful day. The phone rings at my desk. Pick it up. Recognize the guy's voice. He was an intelligence officer. We had been in the Angolan War together. He started up, "Hey, Chief, we have a problem." He says, "I'm in the World Trade Center." He was in the other tower. He said a 737-like commercial airliner flew into the tower. He said the problem is I was watching the control surfaces of the aircraft. The pilot purposely flew the plane into the tower. And then he said, "We've been struck. I'm evacuating my position."
That's on purpose, Alfred. Somebody's doing this on purpose. Oh my goodness.
The White House Chief of Staff went into the room with the president and whispered in his ear that a second plane is hit. America's under attack. The president sat there for a few moments, I think, not knowing quite what to do.
Get ready. Yes, the chemical. Get ready to read the story the fast way. Get ready.
See him being stunned by it, but also see his composure. Later he would say he didn't want to scare the kids. I'm standing there wondering if somebody's going to fly a plane into the school.
Is your friend Israel?
Director Tennant stated that we had threat intelligence that terrorists who wanted to fly a plane to CIA headquarters. And I said, that's fine, but we're not evacuating. So you have to evacuate. How about the people up in the control center? They could all die. The people in CTC, I said, well, it's all just going to have to die. Now we have to respond to a crisis, and like soldiers, some of us aren't going to be there at some point in the future.
I remember our manager bringing us together and just saying, the director has ordered an evacuation of the building except for the counter-terrorist center. We know what we have to do, and we're going to do it.
I turned to my colleagues and I said, call the people in your life, take care of your dog, and lock up your house, because we're going to war. We're going to have to go 24/7 immediately.
There wasn't time to process how you felt. I remember some person crying and then kicking that person out because they don't want to listen to you crying, we have things to do. So at that moment, I really wasn't processing. I was just, whatever I'm told to do, let's do it.
American 77 American Indie Radio, check out your read.
You never assume that's it.
This was not it. There was more.
The next attack, the next attack. When is the next attack? How is the next attack going to happen? Is it going to look just like this? Is it going to look different?
Trying to get hold of American 77. They lost radar, they lost contact with him, they lost everything, and they don't have any idea where he is or what happened. We could have another Blues aircraft out there somewhere.
We're racing to see what else might be the target. At the same time, the FAA is trying to figure out what's going on with its aircraft.
American 77 may have been hijacked.
It doesn't take long before we're hearing reports of another hijacking, and we're trying to immediately figure out where is it going.
Third aircraft hijacked at the port lunch.
We were looking at all the threat reporting that you have ever looked at that you just thought was flaky or aspirational. Now, we're assuming any one of these things might come true.
We were literally worried that terrorists were going to attack CIA headquarters and we were all going to die. I mean, I wasn't scared like I was a coward or anything. It was a fact.
I was pregnant with my 4th child, and I was in the bathroom throwing up. My colleague was there. She wanted to go to the bathroom in case we were blown up, the building was blown up. And I was just like, oh God.
Never did any one of us inside the Pentagon think that our location was at risk. To us, it was a fortress. I felt the blast come from behind. Immediately, I sensed that I was on fire. Everything was burning all around me. I was clawing my way through. I could finally see some glimpses of daylight, and my adrenaline surged, and I stood up and I walked out what was a big punch-out hole.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There is smoke pouring out from the Pentagon.
I had been burned on over 47% of my body. And I had inhaled so much jet fuel and smoke, I flatlined twice. On my branch, I was the only sole survivor.
The president was, at that point, a prime target for terrorists. Secret Service decided it was not safe to go back to Washington, but it wasn't clear where we were going to go. We needed to get in the air immediately. We needed to get the president out of danger. Early that morning, somebody had called the White House, said that there was a bomb on Air Force One. What concerned the Secret Service the most was that the caller knew the call sign for Air Force One, Angel. When we got to the airport, Air Force One was ringed by Secret Service agents with their automatic weapons out. They were searching anything that anybody was carrying, no matter who you were. They searched my briefcase, filled with top secret documents. I didn't fight them. It was an extraordinarily steep takeoff. We learned we were going to be flying around the Gulf of Mexico for quite some period of time. As we were heading to Andrews Air Force Base, I got up and I looked out the windows, and there was a jet fighter on the wingtip of Air Force One. Should someone shoot a surface-to-air missile at Air Force One, the job of those fighters was to put themselves between that missile and the President of the United States.
I was on the phone to the FAA.
We had a phone call that came down to us saying that they had a possible hijack.
We heard all air traffic was grounded, but there was still some plane up in the air that wasn't accounted for.
United 93, Cleveland. We have a bomb aboard.
I really can only express it was almost like an air of panic.
We realized there's more coming. There's another attack coming.
He's reversing course over Akron. He's heading eastbound.
About 25 miles out of Washington, D.C., headed in this general direction.
People on Flight 93 were getting reports about planes being hijacked. Passengers didn't want Flight 93 to become a weapon.
We're having a little problem on the plane.
Apparently they pulled a couple of planes into the World Trade Center already. Looks like they're going to take this one down as well.
United 93, moving is when they don't quite know what that means.
The passengers on Flight 93, they charged the terrorists and had a fight in the cockpit with the hijackers. Preventing it from becoming a weapon to be used against the U.S. Capitol.
United 93, have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
When did he land?
She did not land.
I joined a small group of people in the senior staff compartment of Air Force One. And we were watching television.
Take two. Take 2 and 2, 1. This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on front of us.
The president looked me in the eye and he said, "Michael, who did this?"
As an intelligence officer, you always have to know, what do you really know? What don't you know? And based on those two things, what do you think? was responsible. Let's put everything on the table that we know about this, and whatever anyone wants to say.
I was working with the FAA, trying to track some of the conspirators. I really tried to focus on that information that was coming in. The team was able to receive flight manifests. Those are the documents that show who was on the plane.
You know the terrorists are going to be on the plane manifest. So we started trying to identify anyone with a name that we would recognize.
58 passengers and a crew of
31 passengers, 9 flight attendants, and 2 pilots.
Do name checks with passports as they were scanned and researching them against known terrorist groups, narrowing down the likely suspects.
All of a sudden, an analyst burst into the room, holding a piece of paper and waving it and saying, "I have a manifest from one of the airplanes."
There was a name on that manifest that was suspected of being a pretty major Al-Qaeda operative. For years, that is the terrorist group that we knew was determined to attack the United States. That name, that moment, there's just no way that's a coincidence. We knew immediately this was Osama bin Laden.
Okay, case closed. This is an Al-Qaeda operation. The president had been informed, of course. Michael Morrell was with as a briefer.
And I told him, Mr. President, I believe it is a non-state actor. I believe it is Al-Qaeda. I believe it is bin Laden. And I would bet my children's future on that.
We had a video conversation with him in which we gave our initial impressions of what had happened, who was responsible. He said, "Rally a worldwide coalition. We will find them and destroy them."
And now it starts.
As a kid, I loved puzzles, especially the 5-minute mystery kind of puzzles, where you had a little story and a handful of clues and you had to figure it out in like 5 minutes. I liked the pressure. Little did I know that that would be very helpful many years later.
It just seemed weird that I wanted to join the CIA after Vietnam. There was protesting, people didn't think the CIA was cool. I knew that the analysts at the CIA did a lot more than was the public perception. They were really trying to understand the world, to really help the nation. I wanted to do that. I was lucky as an undergrad to get an interview with the CIA, and they accepted me. In 1993, there was a small group in the CIA focusing on bin Laden, mostly women.
When we first stumbled upon Osama bin Laden, we learned that he was related to a very wealthy and influential family in Saudi Arabia throughout the 1980s. He was a rich benefactor helping the Afghans in resisting the Soviets. This legend grew about these dedicated fighters in the cave in Afghanistan trying to protect their country from the evil Soviet Union which invaded. And the United States was also fighting against the Soviet Union. So the feeling was that these are noble fighters.
U.S. support for the rebels totaled hundreds of millions of dollars, one of the largest covert operations ever run by the CIA. It's over. The day no one ever thought would come. The era of Soviet military intervention in other countries is now over.
Bin Laden was coming off this high of having won in Afghanistan with this idea that this is the way we're going to change the regimes in the Middle East. He wanted to usher in a new Islamic empire
He said he wanted to get the Western influence out of the region.
Bin Laden hated America for intervening in the Muslim world and for propping up these infidel leaders.
Bin Laden saw the United States as supporting everything that they believed was wrong. Liberal democracy, that you don't have to be religious, that women should have an equal role in society. These are all things that were anathema to that fundamentalist movement where Bin Laden and his friends were. So they had a meeting, and out of that, Bin Laden formed Al-Qaeda. And that was 1988. We followed this progression. We had known that Bin Laden was operating training camps and safe houses against the Soviet Union. When the war was over, we discovered that he turned those camps into training camps for Islamic militants to go out and attack other countries. We knew they had terrorist capabilities, but we didn't know to what extent they were going to come directly after the US. In 1992, there was an attack against U.S. servicemen in Yemen. We did some investigation, and the little breadcrumbs led back to Bin Laden. And that's when I personally came to understand that he was coming after us.
4 Americans have been killed this morning's explosions in Saudi Arabia. It was a name that was surfacing from the CIA at Osama bin Laden. 210 people died in bomb attacks on U.S. embassies, the worst acts of anti-U.S. terrorism in years.
Osama bin Laden, possible mastermind of the East African bombings.
5 American sailors were killed. The worst terrorist attack against a U.S. ship in modern history.
The prime suspect named Osama bin Laden.
I put dots on the map, and you could see it like in a belt all across the world. It was almost everywhere.
It seemed to us the beginning of a new wave of terrorism.
In the months leading up to 9/11, we had intelligence reporting that Al-Qaeda had a threat against American targets.
We've not seen a spike in reporting like this before.
All of the indicators were that something big was happening.
We got reporting that people in Bin Laden's network were calling their mothers and telling them goodbye and stuff like that. I mean, it was something very serious was about to happen.
People we were following in Afghanistan were leaving the camps. There was a public statement by Bin Laden saying there would be a big surprise.
They're talking Armageddon. This is going to be bad.
We sent in the vicinity of 100 messages to the FAA, Customs and Border Patrol about the potential for trouble with airlines and terrorists.
Over the past 5 years, we warned that the most likely targets would be, quote, national symbols, such as the White House and the Capitol, and symbols of U.S. capitalism. Terrorists are developing new ways to attack aviation targets.
Morning, July the 10th, the head of the Al-Qaeda section walked in my office. I said, Chief, the roof's falling in. Fed indicators are just off the chart. This country's got to go on a war footing now.
I briefed the president about Bin Laden planning multiple operations. Bin Laden attacks may be imminent. Spectacular attacks. History-changing attacks.
I remember walking into the head of the Al-Qaeda unit. Against one wall is piles of paper, and they were all stacked right next to each other. What is all that paper on the floor? He said, oh, that's when we have the disaster and thousands of Americans are dead. We need a copy of every briefing, every threat report, everything that we gave. So I said, it's a lot of paper. I said, yes, it is.
Frustrating thing about all of this reporting was it was not clear about when, where, or how.
The second tower in the World Trade Center was teetering and...
The other tower of the World Trade Center has just collapsed.
It's no exaggeration to say that we woke up every day thinking it's on us.
You can't not feel a responsibility for not stopping an attack that occurred on your watch. And so you can't help but like question yourself. Just question yourself a lot. I got into my car and started driving home. And it was on that drive that I broke down and I started to cry. And I cried all the way home. Our job. Our number one job. We failed.
فهاني أمريكا قد أصابها الله سبحانه وتعالى في مقتل من مقاتلها فدمر أعظم مبانيها فلله الحمد والمنة.
And I remember the thought I had was, nothing will ever be the same. And it turns out it wasn't.
We knew the Taliban government in Afghanistan provided a safe haven to bin Laden.
I said something to the effect of, look, we just need to tell the Taliban to give us bin Laden or we will rain hell on them.
We did give the Taliban an opportunity to turn bin Laden over, and they refused. On Saturday, President Bush wants to have a meeting of his war cabinet. I walk up to the president, who is talking to somebody from State Department, encouraging him to give diplomacy a chance. And the president said, "Fuck diplomacy, we're going to war."
I've asked the highest levels of our government to come to discuss the current tragedy. We will find those who did it. We will smoke them out of their holes. We will get them running. And we'll bring them to justice. We're at war.
Thank you. Thank you. We're sitting out now.
The definition is whatever it takes.
The meeting that followed was to decide what are we going to do. I didn't know whether CIA would be in the lead or whether it would be the Defense Department. The Department of Defense has military plans for almost everything. That's what they do. They plan for war.
The President of the United States turned to Donald Rumsfeld and said, "How long, Don, before we can invade Afghanistan?" And his response was approximately 6 months. Cofer Black, Chief of Counterterrorism, was sitting behind George Tenet. He didn't have a place at the table, but Cofer's not afraid to speak up.
If you ever read much about General George Patton, he will tell you half of leadership is theater. I slid my chair a little closer to the table, put my elbows on the table. He turned to me, he looked me right in the eye. I stared at him for 5 seconds. And I said very simply, "Mr. President, I will not tell you what I said next, but it very succinctly and graphically would translate to,
If you'll let me do it, I'll have flies walking on their eyeballs in 6 weeks."
That's what I'm talking about.
And Bush said, "You're in charge. Go for it." Donald Rumsfeld almost shit his pants. The worst attack on the United States since Pearl Harbor. He was supposed to be his big boy defending America. And the whole thing just got handed off to an intelligence officer who wasn't even a cabinet member 7 seats away.
I want justice. And there's an old poster out west, as I recall, that said, "Wanted, dead or alive."
Close curtain, end of game.
Cofer Black called me on the phone and said, "They're going to invade Afghanistan, and your name has been presented as the person who's going to lead the biggest part of it." I went home that night and I told my spouse that I would be leaving for Afghanistan. She didn't want me to go. Her response had been, "Let someone else do this one." Now I'm going. I will go no matter what. No matter what. I go to the office, and there was Hank Crumpton, who was tasked to organize the deployment to Afghanistan. We used the code name Jawbreaker.
There were only about a half a dozen of us in what was a new unit.
He started to assemble small teams, case officers, paramilitary officers, linguists, communicators.
None of the CIA teams was bigger than 8 people.
And we had 13 teams at the total.
We would be sending in teams behind enemy lines to work with our Afghan allies, the Northern Alliance, who were already fighting the Taliban to find, engage, and destroy Al-Qaeda.
I brief the teams. In a crisis like this, you've got to hammer through to people. This is different.
His orders were very clear and very blunt.
Told us he wanted to have bin Laden's head or back in dry ice.
He wanted bin Laden's head on a stick.
Cut his head off and bring it back in a box for the president.
This isn't a Walt Disney movie.
He could be specific, graphic, and very clear in his message to us.
I was working with the operations side on trying to track bin Laden all day long, every day. And so when he made an appearance on television, it would be analyzed to death. Was this recently recorded? Was the backdrop new? Is he saying something new? Can we tell by the backdrop where he is? How did the recording get to Al Jazeera? Can we find the couriers? All of that kind of analysis happened every time he spoke. Where could he have gone? We were going to war full out against bin Laden.
We are essentially awakened to danger and called to defend freedom. Whether we bring our enemies to justice or bring justice to our enemies, justice will be done.
The president has clearly been preparing the nation for war. We flew in one helicopter, very heavy, 10 of us. Just 2 weeks after the events of 9/11.
Hank said to me, there's an agreement between us and the military. We will send a CIA team on the ground, and if they are alive after 2 weeks, a special forces team will be permitted to join you. I said, well, how about they come with me when I set up? Because I'd like the additional guns. He said, that's the deal. From the very beginning, we're trying to find bin Laden, doing everything possible. We used a warlord to set up a meeting between us and the leading Taliban.
The Taliban were a radical Muslim movement who governed Afghanistan. Their hatred of the West aligned with bin Laden, so they gave Al-Qaeda safe harbor there.
In order to get bin Laden, you had to go through the Taliban first. People from their intelligence service agreed to come to the meeting under the principles of Pashtunwali. One warlord will have sanctuary and both sides can come in and have an equal meeting there and both be safe. So I sent a team forward to do that. Told them when you get there, if these Afghans are cooperative, do the deal with them. If they're not, kill them or kidnap them. Your choice. Our guys asked them, where is Osama bin Laden? And their answer was, Osama who? That was kind of a mistake on their part. Our guys threw weapons on everybody, tied them up, gagged them, threw them in the vehicles, and drove away with them.
By November, there were approximately 410 Americans on the ground throughout Afghanistan. The various teams were heavily outnumbered.
I went over overhead photography with Hank Crumpton, and we could see that at the Khyber Pass and at other places of entry into Afghanistan, there were traffic jams of 5 and 10 miles long. It looked like every jihadist in the Middle East was trying to come in to join the fight against the infidels, us.
There was an inherent weakness to what we were trying to do with the very limited resources that we had. We were outnumbered by the enemy, but we had air power.
Just before September 11th, I was briefed into an armed drone program. I remember asking, am I going to have to kill anyone with this? I didn't know how I felt. I was 22, maybe. But I think after September 11th, obviously, I didn't feel as conflicted. I was a junior in college. I went to a career fair, and the CIA was at a table there. Here's my resume. They really honed in on this leadership position that I had in my sorority. I was a vice president in my house. Sometimes it would be really difficult. Sometimes you're expelling women for making really poor choices. I was willing to sacrifice popularity and being liked for the betterment of the entirety of my sorority. And that spoke to sort of, I guess, my moral turpitude. I don't know, but that's what they said. I was placed in a counterterrorism center. So with Jawbreaker, we started identifying targets. And we would rely on a lot of intelligence that we were getting from the ground folks.
Our team, the CIA team, is working with the Northern Alliance, and we're running sources across enemy lines. And I have people with what look like cell phones, but really they're GPSs. They will walk up to a building, they see it's a Taliban building, and they mark it. And then they mark another one, then they mark another one. And now I send that report back to CIA and say, okay, Taliban at this building, Taliban in this facility.
We were targeting those individuals and taking them out. I think Al-Qaeda was like, does someone have a GPS up their ass? Like, why are we all dying? I don't think they fully understood, right, what this was. That probably made the ground folks' jobs better.
I had the zone in Afghanistan, which controlled the east, and probably 95% of the Al-Qaeda in the country were in my area. We had Afghan forces on mountaintops, radios all over the place, looking for bin Laden. Finally, we got reporting that bin Laden was in Kabul. We decided, okay, we're going to make a push on Kabul. We're outside of Kabul on the Shamali Plains. Special forces teams came and joined us. There's about 25 CIA or special forces alongside 5,000 Northern Alliance on the Shamali Plains, standing against 15,000 Taliban and Al-Qaeda. They outnumber us at least 3-1, maybe 4-1.
The synchronization of the Northern Alliance with U.S. air power really was crucial to executing the plan.
So we coordinated for air support, set a date. It was the 9th. The Northern Alliance got ready to attack. At dusk, you could see headlights of thousands of pickup vehicles, 8 guys in the back armed, start coming out of the city and start to crowd in on us to be in a position to attack us. Their intention is to kill everybody in the Northern Alliance and kill the Americans who they know are there. They had a very, very large force. But what we have that they don't have, air power.
Once the U.S. air power was introduced, having worked most of my career with the U.S. military, I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. I pushed half of my team to be right on the front line with the Northern Alliance to assault. The Northern Alliance lined up, got ready, and then the planes didn't come. They didn't come. And there was an artillery duel. The Taliban were in bunkers and trenches. They weren't well concealed.
There's no bases to go to. There's no place to protect yourself. You're exposed. Of course, I had to send messages back saying, what the hell's going on here? Their assets are thousands of miles away. Now we got 15,000 people right on top of us. I told our officers, no one was allowed to surrender. If you were going to be overwhelmed, you save the last round for yourself. Because if not, Al-Qaeda would torture you on video, put that out all over the world, and you would suffer horribly. And unannounced comes all hell from the Air Force. B-52s are bombing that front line. AC-130 gunships are coming. Fighter aircraft are coming.
The Taliban positions couldn't withstand U.S. air power.
They actually just abandoned their positions and ran. And then as they collapse, the Northern Alliance moves forward against their positions.
Since launching their breakout offensive last Friday, U.S.-backed anti-Taliban forces have made strikingly rapid progress. Yesterday alone, more than 400 bombs were dropped on Afghanistan.
Their commanders claim to have killed nearly 1,000 Taliban troops in just 2 days.
We were all moving faster than anyone thought. And so the Taliban literally, on their own, began evacuating the city.
Well, we told them, look, the White House wants you to hold everybody back. We don't want you to go in.
I can't even keep... track of all the people who have been in and out of this fort. They come, they go. I barely notice. Hard enough to keep up with who owns this fort. One side takes over, the other runs away. I come. I come. Ha!
I'm right behind you. I am sworn to carry your burdens. Let's get going then.
time to end this little
Someone there? I'm right behind you. I am sworn to carry your burdens. Let's get going then. I just cook and clean and do whatever it is they ask of me. I can't even keep track of all the people who have been in and out of this fort. They come and go. I barely notice.
Stendar's mercy be upon you, for the Vigil has none to spare.
Got some good pieces, the finest weapons and armor. Don't forget to check inside the shop if you need anything.
Heard they're reforming the Dawn Guard. Vampire hunters or something in the old fort near Riften. Might consider joining up myself.
Welcome to War Maidens. Now don't let the name worry you. We got plenty of steel for fighting men. We've got the finest weapons and armor. Good doing business with you.
Let me know if you see anything you like.
Everything. Oh, a bit of this and a bit of that. Trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing. Do come back. You just let... Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures. Remember, I'll give you the best deals or die trying.
I've got your back. I am at your command. Let's get going then.
Please, welcome. Take a look. Next time, come see me at my shop. Got some things you'll just love.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you do.
Let me know if you see anything you like. What do you need, my... Take a look. Come back anytime if you need a remedy.
I work with my
Divine
mother.
smile on you,
We sell
friend.
fruits and vegetables.
No,
fun,
friend,
though.
that I'm not.
Hard work.
But I get along with your kind well enough. No, I'm a Red Guard. My family hails from the Imperial Province. But I left home when I was just a lad. Been wandering ever since. Right then.
Did
You tried
know
mercenary
there's
work?
fruits that actually
might suit
grow
you.
better in the cold weather?
Hey, watch it!
I've been running interference for you around here. I don't think anyone's caught on to our little campaign. Yet. Have you been bringing the battle to the Silver Hand, friend? I wish I could be there with you. Soon enough.
We Greymaids have been feuding with the battle boards for years. There's no more bitter enemy than an old friend. You're looking at a real warrior. At least I used to be.
I avoid going to Eastmarch if I can. Something in the air. I think it's just too close to the border. It means signing on for the Nord ideas of how to live your life. Honor, battle, glory, all that. Even an elf can be born with the heart of a Nord. Skjor said when I joined. I think he meant it as a compliment.
You'll do all
Are you
right
thinking
someday.
you're better than
Today
me?
you need to keep
To me, it means not having to answer foolish questions a second time.
No fighting just yet. Not till Skjor
To me,
says so.
it means fortune and glory, friend. Fortune and glory.
But before
All right, then.
I had to train.
Might head down to the meadery later, see what they're brewing up. Smell the honey.
Talos the mighty, Talos the unerring.
This war's as stupid as our feud with Clan Greymane.
Very sword. It's like the ancient legends. Dragonborn.
You really dead then?
So fast. 1 minute the dragon was there, the next it was gone. Everything was destroyed.
There are dragons about, traveler. Be warned. Then you've seen them too. We lost our home, our livestock. We barely have enough gold to get by. Thank you, traveler. Be safe, and don't forget to keep an eye on the sky.
Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your kindness.
Guess it's all clear now. I've been hunting and fishing. Take a look. Until next time.
I'll kill you!
I've been hunting. Take a look. Good day.
I've got your back. I am sworn to carry your burdens. Let's get going then. Got a bad feeling about this.
This war's as stupid as our feud with Clan Greymane.
I've got your back. I am at your command. You lead, I'll follow.
I don't claim to... Take a look. Don't forget to check inside the shop if you need anything.
Hey, watch it!
What's the hurry?
You're the best. Can you be my father?
The realm.
Keep it in close.
Gods be praised. It's an honorable craft. I'll show you what I can.
I've got your back. All right, what is it? Still need me to do something? Still here. How can I serve you, my Thane? Let's get going then.
Gods be praised. We done? May we truly reach enlightenment.
Everything's all right?
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. Everything... Take a look. Do come back.
What are you doing that for? I work for Bellathor at the General Goods Store.
Well met, kinsman.
How can I help a brother Nord?
Still here. I am at your command. Let's get going then.
divine smile on you, friend.
Of our own corruption, while you are saving
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. If not, let me... What do you need, my friend? So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Come back anytime if you need a remedy.
What is it? Dragons?
You tried mercenary work? It might suit you.
Let me know if you see anything you like.
Welcome to War Maidens. Now, the finest weapons and armor. Good doing business with you.
What are you looking at? I'm not afraid of you, you know, even if you are my elder.
Let me know if you see anything you like.
You look like maybe you need a new weapon. Something. Blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs.
You're someone who can get things done. I don't... Looking to protect yourself or deal some damage? Stay sharp.
I work for Bellafor at the general goods store.
You're the best. Can you be my father?
Businesses, your children, your very lives. And what does the Empire?
Got a lot of steel to shape. Gods be praised. It's an honorable craft. I'll show you what I can.
I work for Bellathor at the General Goods Store. Come by Bellathor's shop at the market. I'm sure we've got something you need. Don't mean to be rude, but I'm too busy to talk right now.
Well met, Kinsman.
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. If not, let me know. I might have it stored. Everything. Take a look. Do come back.
Yes?
Emily.
Oh.
Okay.